hereby call the February 17, 2026 meeting of the Landmarks and Historic Districts Board of the Town of Southampton to order. Present are members Tim Ganettis, Vicky Kahn, Bill Hine, Jeff Gibbons, and myself, Stephanie Davis. The meeting is being conducted under town and New York State law that provides for in-person and remote participation. Individuals may undertake remote participation by going to the link on the Landmarks Board agenda or by going to the meeting portal of the Southampton Town Clerk on the town website. Viewer-only observation is found by activating the live link at the top of the Town Clerk's meeting portal page. Online participation is being moderated by CTV and tonight by Peter. To comment on a particular agenda item, please notify CTV via the chat function so that comments may be made. Commentators will need to provide name, agency of relevant, and a place of business or residence. And I omitted Susan, I believe, is with us on Susan Sherry Clark on Zoom. Okay, we have no guests in attendance tonight outside of our normal folks. The next item of business is the minutes from the January 20th, 2026 meeting. Did anybody have any comments or changes, recommendations? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the minutes? Second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Hearing none, we're done with the minutes. Would you like to go, since you're here?
I can.
An application?
Yep, and then, I'll stick around for the Dick's window if there's any questions.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Tonight is for the fish house?
Rainer Fish House, yep.
Rainer Fish House, okay.
So, Matt Jedlicka from L.K. McLean Associates, 437 South Country Road, Brookhaven, New York. Matt Jedlicka, L.K. McLean Associates, 437 Brookhaven, New York, for the Rainer Fish House. It's a CPF project constructed in 1939, reconstructed in 1939 after the Hurricane of 38. Apparently it was built around the 1860s but destroyed by the hurricane and rebuilt. There's William Fletcher Rainer of West Hampton Beach, used primarily as like fish storage gear and a place where you could work on fishing nets and things like that. So the CPF had acquired the property, and this set of plans before you is really just a repair of the building to make it safe. Part of the work is to remove the existing unsafe dock. We're removing a section of the dock that goes towards the bridge to the north, and not replacing that section, but looping it back to where it's not really a parking area, but back to the land side. There's a proposed ramp and I don't want to call it a deck, but a platform in front of the building so that there is handicapped accessibility.
Do these plans differ at all from what you previously presented to us?
Nope, they don't differ. I met with the building department on the site just to see what their feeling was as far as the scope of work. So this is a project that has to go out to a public bid, so there is no contractor yet. And because there's no contractor, we can't actually obtain a building permit. So we wanted their review to see if it's permittable. If the plans as they stand would get a permit once we get a contractor in place. And we were told that as a repair, yes, that they're permitted through the town building department. We have the trustees permit, we have the Army Corps of Engineers, New York State DEC, so we have all the environmental permits for the dock work. And it's just a matter of getting your permission and the building department, and then being able to move forward with a public bid.
Okay.
But these are basically the same plans that you saw when I first came, but these are stamped. These are the ones that the building department has seen. So this will be the set that goes in for the permit
Okay,
when there's a contractor in place.
all right. Once again, having. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I did last time, which is log in.
Does anybody have any questions based on the plans that you've seen?
No, I think, we saw these several months ago,
Yeah.
and I don't recall that we had any issues with any of the proposed, work.
You had a question about the bracing.
Yeah, that was gonna stay,
And that's staying,
yes.
right?
That
So
was part of
that's
the
that's
original
staying. Yep.
construction. Prevent further collapses during future hurricanes.
It's a great little spot, but not something that could sustain a hurricane force winds. So,
Or the surge up the creek there.
right, yeah.
That's what took a lot of them away, was the surge.
Yeah, it has survived a number of pretty significant floods. There were a few nor'easters that, I don't know, there's probably 16 inches of water in there during one of the storms. But yeah, it's a repair project for the building itself. Because it's, seems like it was, kind of pieced together with debris practically after the hurricane.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
as what they had. A lot of it was salvaged. I didn't have any particular issues with it. Did anybody else have any comments, any whatever? Okay, so I think what we need to do then, I guess we issue a COA for the plans as presented, and then you're going out to bid, and you'll see what you
Right.
get. And I guess if there's any change in those plans, then you would need to come back to us
Right.
for another COA.
Okay. Understood.
All right.
Perfect.
All right, so I guess what we need here is a resolution to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the planned repairs to the fish house and associated dock, et cetera, at 4 Beaver Dam Lane in West Hampton, according to the plans that were submitted with the application. I have a motion to approve that. Motion, second?
One second.
All in favor? All right, any opposed? Thank you, Susan, that's an aye. And any abstains? There's nobody abstaining, so we're good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And do you wanna do
So we
anything-
need to issue a COA.
Would you like to do the Dick's windmill next, or?
Yes.
Okay. Stay up here, just in case.
I will go ahead and get that COA out. And Bill, do you want to talk about what we've got here for the Dick's Windmill?
Yes. Okay, so you may remember that this was, the windmill was landmarked, moved from a residential piece of property to a village and Southampton town-owned piece of property. And it was broken down into 3 or 4 pieces, put back together. The bulk of the work is now finished. I went through the drawings and took photographs of the windmill and just went back and forth between the two to make sure everything was as we originally agreed. So here you can see the windmill. One of the things here, there's a bench in the picture. The village has put 4 benches there. I think they're movable. They weren't part of the original landscaping plan, but I have no objection to them. They're not up close to the building. They're further out on the property, closer to the sidewalks. 3 things that sort of changed a little bit. The blades, the lattice or ladder work on them was originally going to be white, and now it's natural, so they'll just weather as natural wood. The back of the building has a dormer similar to the front side. Yep, there you go, up on the top. And the trim on that was originally called out as white, but both dormers, the trim has been done in the same red. The roof is red, the siding is red, everything up there is basically that red tone. The trim on the window was supposed to be white. It appears like the siding was brought directly to the window, and originally there were 2 shutters called out for that window. But kind of looking at it, there's not a lot of room up there for trim and shutters and painting the rake boards white and everything. So I had no real objection to the change in color on that to make it all red. Yeah, there's the rooster weather vane on the top. This is a little ADA ramp. It's really about a 1-inch rise in 2 feet. It's very shallow. It's as per the original drawings. There are a lot of bollard lighting around that are about 1 foot high. Next to the door, they did that slightly taller fixture. That's also a 360 fixture, so it lights in every direction, where the other bollards along the walkway really just, the light is directed directly towards the walkway. Yep, there it is again. Yep, there's the shorter ones.
And I've seen these at night. These guys light just down, and they're very effective on the walkway. This illuminates this whole side of the building and the door area, and it glares out.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally found this not to be what I would consider dark sky compliant. Matt, do you have something to add to this?
So I just want to add that that was something that came up during construction, and the town's electrical department, which had to approve everything electrically, and we had to achieve a certain amount of foot candles at that door. And rather than put a light fixture above the door, we were not able to achieve it with the smaller bollards, so we searched high and low trying to find a bollard that would spread the foot candles all the way across the walking path at the door. So that's what we were looking for, something that was a similar design to the other bollards, but that would achieve that, the foot candle spread.
Is it required to light the pathway or the door itself?
It's required to light the pathway, and you're supposed to, I think it's 1 foot candle at every location at that door.
Yeah, because it lights far more than the walkway. If you go look at it at night,
Right.
It's quite glaring. I personally found.
But it was it worked on paper, and it sort of matched the general aesthetic of the other ones. Wasn't the easiest thing to find, and it was a code required thing. And we didn't want to put a barn light above the door, or a jelly type light or something, not a jelly light, because that would not be dark sky compliant, but we're just trying to find something.
Was this supposed to be dark sky compliant?
It's supposed to be dark sky compliant, but this is one of those things that we wound up through the project, and everything was done, and it sort of was like in the village's hands of, we got to get this C of O.
Yeah.
So we had to find a light that would comply with the requirements of the electrical department, which it did.
Carrying on here.
Thanks.
Okay, so this, it looks like a hand pump, but it's really basically whenever the windmill is working and pumping water, it will just come out of here, go into a hole in the top of the barrel, and then pass through the barrel to another hole in the bottom and into a landscaping drain that's underneath it. This is one of the 4 benches that are there. Yeah, so here you can see off to the right near the windmill is where the barrel and what looks like the hand pump is. Then the second is a rock that was placed there. And on that rock is looks like a brass or bronze plaque with the names of people who, yep, one more. Yep, people who donated towards the windmill. This was not on the original drawings.
The rock.
The rock was not. But it's off to the side, it's near the plantings. I didn't really have any objection to it. The next one is at the end of one of the pathways headed towards the lawn. And right now it's a draft, it's faded quite a bit. Matt felt that this was something that the village was putting together, so it wasn't the town working on it. And this sign is supposed to have all of the people who helped in the process of getting all of this done. So the Landmarks Board would be on there, the historian, the town, everybody who worked on it would be named on this one. The rock does have a light aimed towards it, but Matt said that he didn't believe there was any wiring for lighting for the secondary sign. Yeah. Yeah, there is the bollard there, but that's lighting the path, which is sort of odd that the path leads to the sign.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose you can skirt around the corner of it where the hedge ends. Yeah, these are 2 posts. Stephanie explained what these are for. Different events in the village, you're allowed to put a banner up here, and these posts just remain there. They were closer to the windmill. They've been moved further to the east. So again, I had no objection to them as long as they had a purpose. This, I'm assuming, is some sort of an electrical circuitry box of some sort.
Hot box for the water. It's a valve.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought perhaps if it had evergreen landscaping around it, it wouldn't pop out so much during the winter months, but otherwise, again, there's not much we can do about it.
It's not a hot box for the windmill, is it?
No, that's for the,
For the regular one?
that's for the field.
Okay.
So not the whole field's irrigated, but some of it is.
Yeah, well, there's the spigot out here. That's the only irrigation I'm aware of on the
Right.
field.
There's irrigation, I think we put irrigation in around the windmill.
Oh, around the
too.
windmill, yes,
Right.
around the windmill. That's correct.
And that, I think, was pre-existing.
That might have been. There is, I mean, there is a water supply out here, but it's just a spigot.
Right.
And about that signage, I was kind of thanking everybody, I'm not sure if that's a permanent thing or if it was just for the
This,
for the ribbon cutting.
Oh,
But I
okay,
can
because
double check that.
the only thing left on it now is draft. So
Yeah.
I always felt that they were sort of, they had put it together for the ribbon cutting,
Cutting, but I'm
and
not
then
sure,
the official one wasn't here yet.
but I can find out if that was something that was gonna be,
yeah.
Removed
Okay,
or
yeah, that'd be great.
replaced.
yeah, I can even send you a picture that's not faded,
Okay.
if you wanted to see.
Uh-huh.
But I think it literally is a draft because it's not a permanent
Mm-hmm.
structure.
It's difficult in the pictures because of the snow on the ground to see the paver walkways and the landscaping around it. I've been there before the snow, I believe Stephanie was as well. Everything is as per the landscaping plan that we received. The lighting is in all the locations other than the one by the door, as per the lighting plan we received. This was not there, but again, it's minor and it sort of has a function with the windmill, so I had no objection to that either.
And this is an example, there's, I think they're mostly boxwoods, which are very small, slow growing.
Mhm.
And these are more grasses and things here.
Yes.
And yeah, the landscaping, I mean, the whole intention is to see the windmill, not to disguise anything, so I think,
Right.
see. Not a lot.
Mhm.
One question I had, which is kind of aside from the COA, but as you walk along here, there's quite a little drop off. from the pathway into the vegetated area here.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, railings.
There's no
nothing.
code required railings for something like that. And, hopefully as the plants kind of grow up, people aren't going to accidentally step into that.
Yeah.
But part of that was trying to keep grade low around the windmill so that you don't have any rot on the siding, but yet all the pathways, without actually having a legitimate ramp up to the building, everything had to be about the same level as the finished floor of the building. So all the pathways are finished floor level, and the planting areas are, in theory, where everything should be, to keep it away from the siding and the lattice work that's underneath the windmill.
Yeah. No,
So would it be possible to flank the ramp area with the boxwoods so that basically 12 months a year there was something there, so that during the winter when everything gets cut back, you wouldn't have that step off?
Yeah, I'm sure the village, might be able to, put some plantings right there on the edge of each side of the entry to the windmill.
Yeah.
It's just quite a bit more drop off than I'm used to seeing in a public
Right.
pathway. Um, Any other comments, questions? Anything else you wanted to cover, Bill?
Nope, I think I've covered
Conclusions at the end. here.
everything. Yep.
Okay. You also had mentioned about the wind shaft being white versus the red, which was originally proposed.
Yes, yeah. So it's just the portion that comes out horizontally from the cap was originally in the drawings called out as red. The stems, so to speak, of the sails are white. So, seeing it constructed and painted this way, I sort of felt that the white was more appropriate than the red.
Yeah, it stands out better, I think, against the red crown of the thing.
Yes, yeah.
And I think too that if you painted all of the sails there,
Mm-hmm.
you'd have paint coming off
That would be,
quick.
right, a maintenance nightmare of setting up scaffolding to get to both sides of that and spinning it around so that they could get to each part and, yeah.
What's the
So-
wood, Matt, of the,
It's so the lattice work is tropical hardwood,
Okay.
ipe.
okay,
Yeah, and the decision was made that ipe will weather nicely and not have to worry about the painting,
yeah. And rot,
right, and rotting.
it was a good choice.
And if sails are put on and taken off, then you're not worrying about paint,
Right,
chipping and all
right, so they do have sails. The sails were made for the project. The sails were partially installed during the ribbon cutting ceremony, but then removed for safety reasons and, to keep them in good shape. And maybe the village will put them on once a year. The intent was to have the windmill be able to be operational, like as a display once a year, something like that.
Yeah, I know the Historical Museum is working on a public presentation program this coming year, where we'll be able to give tours of the museum, or tours of the windmill. So it'd be really nice to coordinate with one of these
Yeah,
actual operational events.
no, it was a fantastic project. It was an
Yeah,
exciting project to be involved with, and
I've heard nothing but good things from people who visit the village about it, so.
yeah, now it's like a true landmark of the village, so.
Okay, so it looks like, Bill, you're prepared to sign off on the Rooster wind vane,
Mm-hmm.
the lightning protection system.
Right, which is, other than some small rods up on the highest point, it's all hidden inside the building.
Oh, and then we had the question about the holiday lighting.
Which I can't answer to. That's the village.
Okay. They did look to be very temporary lights.
Yeah, I think all that is temporary.
And we needed to review the bollard light by the door,
Mhm.
which we discussed tonight. And then the ADA compliant ramp design, and then any other subsequent things, which I think the only thing left is still the drafty sign, and whether that's,
Yeah, we have to determine if that's something that gets removed and then the path flows out into the Great Lawn, or if it's something that is going to be like a permanent installation. So we'll find that out.
so it sounds like, unless I'm hearing anything else from the board, that we are ready to issue a COA for pretty much everything that was discussed tonight,
Mhm.
other than the drafty sign. Drafty sign, yeah. Was anything else? That was it. And let's just confirm that the holiday lighting is indeed a temporary thing that is gone.
Mhm.
So can we have a resolution then for a COA to that effect? That the information presented in Bill's report in terms of what we're ready to issue a COA for is agreeable to the board? And then the only thing pending at this point would be the one draft sign, and just confirmation of the nature of the holiday lighting. Can I have a resolution to that effect? Okay. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I might be able to get that information while we're still sitting here. So if I do, is that good enough
What, for the?
for the sign and the holiday lighting?
If you can get somebody from the village to
Yeah.
tell you,
Okay,
that'd be great.
I'll ask.
Okay, so we had ayes, any nays? I don't see anybody abstaining, so that would be the resolution. Bill, could you put together that resolution?
Mhm.
For the COA, or not the resolution, but the
COA.
COA? And I have a form I can send to you if you don't have a COA form.
I do not, yes. If you could do that, that'd be great.
Stephanie, if you would point your mic a little more towards you. A
Oh,
little
sure,
lower.
yeah, I moved it because of jimmying things around. Is that better?
That's great. Thank you so much.
All right. Let's see, we have other things to cover here on folks who are here. Matt, were you hanging around for any of the other applications?
You're doing Burley
Or blue? Yeah,
around for that.
we'll do that next. All right, that's 65 Old Riverhead Road in Hampton Bays. Okay, I think this should be short and sweet. Okay, so this board actually approved recommending landmarking for this property back in, let's see, 2024, at our November meeting, November 19, subject to receipt of a report more completely documenting the history of the property and its historic value. That report has now been completed and submitted. And so tonight, we just have to approve transmitting the February 18th letter that I had drafted to the town board to officially make the landmarking recommendation. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the process or, what we're doing here? Anybody have any comments on the letter? Okay. Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve sending this letter to the town board? Okay, you have a second? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any nays? No nays, no abstentions, we're good. All right, so I will send the letter, recommendation to the town board. It'll be later this week. Maybe tomorrow. And that concludes that. Let's see. Julie, you're here also for 53 Foster, right, I assume? Are you here for 53 Foster too?
Yeah, well, Bill had done a new
Report. Yeah,
But
okay.
yeah, I mean, don't worry about me.
Don't worry about you?
Yeah, I'm
Huh?
happy to listen in on all of it.
All right, okay, then let's start at the top of the rest of the agenda, which would be 44 Somerset Avenue. Okay, I had a lot of help on this from Ed and some also from Julie. It's a very interesting property. Here's the Sag Harbor Bridgehampton Turnpike here, just to the, would be northeast of the downtown area. Here is Sawaset or Suwaset Avenue, depending upon whether you take the old original spelling or whether we take the 1940s bastardized spelling that we have today. This is the house in question. There's also a shed in the back, which is essentially a one-car garage. Looking back at the historic information, it looks like this road was opened, it had been opened by 1916, but it was not opened in 1902. And here you can see the original Suwaset Avenue spelling. And here's the Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike. At this point in time, there was no development in the area of the subject property, but lo and behold, by 1930, here's the house. And here's the shed slash garage out back, and it looks like there's, maybe a little field or something going on here. So the story behind this is that there was a gentleman by the name of Robert Christopher Green, born in 1891 in Sag Harbor. And he was an African American. And he, by 1913, was the chauffeur for the Hampton House, now the Nathaniel Rogers House. And here's a picture of him chauffeuring around Mrs. Caroline Hopping in front of the Hampton House. He married in November 1913 Frances Marshall, who was the daughter of Frank and Nellie Cuffey Marshall, so married into the Cuffey family. They were noted in that time as living at a Lumber Lane address, actually in the 1920 census. But in the January 19th, 1923 East Hampton Star, it was reported that he had purchased the lot at 44 Suwaset Avenue and an existing building from Mrs. Nicholas Cooper, who was formerly Carolyn Ludlow and the daughter of a whaling captain, Captain Jeremiah Ludlow. And here's a picture, thank you very much, Julie, of the Ludlow estate down on Ocean Road. So Robert Green was up and coming in the world. He got married, and a few years later he bought his property, and then he bought a building, and he had it moved and converted into the dwelling that we see today. Long story of his life. Here's the house as it existed. This is 2014. This is the picture in our historic survey from 2014. Let's see. By July 1925, the family was established at this residence, and they had 6 children living with them at that point. By 1930, they had 8 children, and by 1940, they had 11 children living in this house with mom and dad. So some of the discussion in the application to tear this down and build an 8-bedroom house goes right out the window because we already have a family who's raised 11 children here. The house remained in the family until very, very recently. The Robert Green passed first, and then his wife Frances passed a few years later, and their daughter Mary Amelia Green eventually inherited the house from her mother. Robert had died in 1955. Frances passed in 1974, and unfortunately, Mary Amelia Green lost the property to Suffolk County early in 2023, but she got it back for the delinquent taxes later in 2023. She held onto the property for another couple of years, but sold it to the current owner in September 2025. Mary Amelia Green had very interesting local life. She attended Bridgehampton Public Schools. She won a full scholarship to the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. She became a fashion designer and in later years a storyteller, focusing on historic life in Bridgehampton and her life as a designer. Irving Marshall, who was her uncle, and other family members were featured in a 1974 article in the New Yorker magazine entitled The Black People of Bridgehampton, which was then turned into a book, The Other Hampton by Calvin Tompkins. And this area, by the way, this was historically an African-American community. In this area of Bridgehampton, it was called the Turnpike. So this is the house, unfortunately, as it exists today. You can see that it hasn't been painted in a very long time. It is overgrown with shrubberies. We have some windows that have been fallen apart or been broken. The shingles are all face nailed. They look to me to be probably original. But it's very interesting. The roof comes down, has a little deflection right in the middle of it on both sides. Really kind of artistic. And then upstairs we have 6/6 windows, and then we have 2/2s. All the downstairs ones are 2/2s, and then there's this little diamond one up in the peak of the roof. So whoever built this structure originally had an eye to some architectural detail. This is the side of the structure. This window is pretty much shot. There's a 2/2. Here's the back of the structure. It has an interesting sort of a mudroom area in the back with a 4-square style roof, as opposed to the front, which is just a straight gable. And you can see very clearly the deflection in the roof here. No attic gable end window at this end of the house. This is the interior of that back porch area. I did not go in the house because the back door had been broken in, and there were footprints in the snow leading into the house, and I was by myself, and I decided I was not going in. Did not feel totally safe. Here would be the west side of the house facing the large church property immediately to the west, 2/2 windows. I didn't see any deflections in the roof or anything else that suggested a structural problem here. Kind of disappointed because I would have liked to see the structure inside, take a look in the basement or crawl space or whatever is there. It is a concrete block foundation. There are some window openings in the foundation here. But I have no idea what the foundation is like underneath. Just wanted to point out here some of the interesting, there's trim all the way around underneath the eaves. You see some rafter tails peeking out of the end here. And there's also trim right here along the lower edge of the roof. So somebody put some love into this house when they built it. And you can see the face nailing here on the shingles. This is a little shed out back. Very interesting diamond pane windows. My guess is perhaps salvaged from somewhere when they were put in. This is a clothes post, still has a clothesline on it with clothespins. Looks like a piece of locust is my guess. And then here's the front doors to that shed in the back. So probably a 1-car garage at one time. At any rate, it seems a shame to put a house with this kind of history into a dumpster. I did note that there was no structural engineering report submitted with the application. So it's possible that we could deem the application incomplete at this point. The house has value in terms of its relationship to the African-American community of this area. The house directly across the street is an identified historic resource, as is this one. The house 2 doors to the east is also identified historic resource. There are a lot of brand new houses in the area. The one directly to the east is brand new, for sale, I believe. And there's several other houses that look fairly new in this area. So it's, houses like this are being removed and replaced with much larger dwellings, as is proposed for this property. But other than general neglect of the exterior of the structure, I didn't see anything obvious from the outside that would suggest that we had something that was, totally failing as a structure. It would be really nice if they could take this and incorporate it into the facade of the building that's proposed. And it's a very deep lot. so they have plenty of room to, build out back behind it. So my inclination would be to object to the proposed demolition of this house. I believe it would fit the first of our criteria for consideration as a landmark because of its special character of historic interest as part of the cultural and economic and social history of Bridgehampton, particularly the African American history. So that would be my inclination, is to object to this. I don't know that asking for an engineering report would, in the end, make any difference. We've all seen the kinds of reports that we often get, which are not particularly helpful in actually assessing the structural integrity of a building. But at any rate, that's another option that's open to us, is to deem it incomplete and ask for that report. So I would ask the board, does anybody here has formed an opinion about this?
I have a question. Is there any possibility of this house being relocated to even the Nathaniel Rogers property, or another, historical site? Because it has so much history and so much relevance to the Black community?
I think to evaluate that, we would need to know its structural condition,
Yeah.
whether it's
Capable of being
whether it's
moved.
capable of being moved. And there would need to be, an organization or a receiving property that wants it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could be explored. And if we ask for an engineering report, we might then have the information to assess that, and it would
Reach
be,
out to
yeah, and there
other
would be an
potential.
additional time to reach out, yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
That would be my comment.
Okay. Does anybody else on the board have any particular comments about this? Does anybody feel that we should not object to this demolition? Okay, so what I'm saying is that we should object to the demolition. And I guess, should we then also ask for an engineering report, which might give us some time to reach out to see if anybody has an interest in taking the structure? Okay.
I don't know, can we object before we get the engineer's report? Because if the engineer's report comes back and says that the house is just in such a shambles, it can't be touched, it can't be moved, then, it would change our possible recommendation.
Yeah, so that's what we would do, is we would deem it incomplete. We would request the engineering report, and then we would consider it at our next meeting. But meanwhile, we have time to reach out to organizations that might have an interest in acquiring the structure. Okay. Is everybody okay with that approach to this? Okay. Susan, you're raising your hand. Oh, so that's an aye. That's an aye. Okay. I think you're muted, Susan. All right. All right. So can we have a motion that we would adjourn this to the next meeting and request an engineering report? Okay. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Susan. All right.
Stephanie, I have an answer.
Yeah.
Dick's window. Before I leave,
An answer.
I'd like to try to get this taken care of. Okay, so the village has ordered a replacement sign for the drafty sign. It's going to have some corrections on it. The same size, but made from a composite-backed aluminum with a 5 to 7 year warranty. So that sign is a permanent drafty sign, but they're, going to replace the signage part.
Is it going to be illuminated?
I don't have the answer to that, but I don't think so, because there's nothing that was set in the ground, for
To illuminate
wiring.
with?
So, and then the other thing is the lighting. It's been removed, but the village would like the option to be able to light it up at certain holidays. So,
Perhaps the village could give us a schedule and also a lighting pattern or scheme.
okay,
I've heard some comments about the red and green scheme that was perhaps tacky was the word that was
Okay.
used. But I don't know if they're planning a like black and orange for Halloween.
I
or
don't know.
Green for St. Patrick's
So
Day.
I'll ask for a schedule of, what they would like to do, and, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, a schedule and lighting.
Okay, so
Nature.
then I'll just submit in a formal setting, whatever the plan is for that and the sign.
Okay,
That way you guys have it and add it to the file.
we'll add it to the file. We'll add it to the COA.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Moving down the list here, 54 Hayground Road Watermill. We are waiting for the actual construction application for all the work that's seemingly ongoing on this property, which we have not yet received, so that will be continued at our next meeting.
We do have Jason
Oh,
representing the client on Zoom if you wanted to hear.
on 54 Hayground?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, it's the wrong one. Never mind.
Okay, so, but who is he representing? Which application?
85 Eastway, Shinnecock.
Ah, let's go ahead and take Jason then. We shouldn't have to wait for the whole shebang here.
Jason, come on down.
Correct. Where is it?
Good evening, everyone. Jason Paremba, architect and agent for the client for 85 Eastway, Shinnecock.
Thank you, Jason.
Uh,
I have your photographs and your plans, so just let me know what you want to put up on the screen.
Sure, yeah. If can I have permission to share? Am I allowed to?
Yeah,
Great.
I assume so. Peter, can we share?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you. Just a big general comment. My client is super respectful, and so am I, about the site and the existing property and the existing building on site. So just to put that out there, I saw a previous submission with renderings, and I felt that the addition that was proposed was like grossly overwhelming that existing beautiful home that was there. So my client and I are trying to, as a general principle, make sure that that building that exists, that's existed for quite some time, is highlighted and shown in any addition or any work that's done to the house or around the house that wasn't a part of it, kind of recedes. It's always what I've been taught about working around historical projects is, any kind of additions or alterations to them are secondary, and it's obviously secondary. And the primary feature and the primary existing element, is the most important thing. So currently on site, I think part of the conversation was just to have an update on what's going on site. I would say since taking possession, it's basically the same except some safety measures were done. So now on site where this, if you can see my cursor, where this opening has been covered with plywood.
Yep.
The window wells have been covered up with plywood. These open windows covered up. We're trying to secure the property from people getting injured and any kind of people potentially taking shelter in it. And there was some minor cleanup just to cut the grass, make easier access to the site. But it's as it stands. I read the reports from the initial, I don't know if it was initial meetings about this property, but I am aligned with you in terms of, and my client, the character of the windows, the brackets, a lot of that original detailing is quite wonderful, particularly these little pitched shingled elements that create awnings or, rain shielding devices are quite wonderful. So you guys are obviously familiar with this project. So just to quickly look at I'll go to the quick site plan and drawings just to give you a general overlook, and then I'll show you, you guys saw the renderings, but just open up the drawings here. Okay. I have the existing floor plans. We were unable to make access into the lower level, so the structure is assumed. I don't exactly know what's there, but the cutouts and everything and all of what we've shown is reflective of what's on site currently. We identified the existing elevations going through as the best of our ability with safety in mind. You know, you had that engineer's report where, and we are aligned with that, where sections of the flooring, I've personally felt unsafe to send my staff in those areas, but we knew that we could repeat, you know, this window on the second floor is repeating, you know, 5 times. We know that certain windows are repeating. So once you measure one, you know, we can kind of duplicate that. We've gone through the site, the existing property, and analyzed the setbacks with the town of Southampton. We met with the building inspectors and kind of reviewed that. The proposed site in general, we took some inspiration from, there was an existing, I'd have to look back, I don't have the notes, I'm actually out of state, but there was an existing landscape plan that was quite involved, and that was at some point during the history of this home. I don't know if it was in the, you know, from the original architect, but there was a very old landscape plan. And my client are taking the similar approach to the entry point that was shown in that document. And I will, after this meeting, I'll see if I can locate that email so you can have it. And you may already have it in your reference, but it had a very similar approach and parking court area that's proposed here, as well as a small service area. We've actually made it smaller. The original landscape plan that we had found had a parking court lower and a parking court higher. So we feel that's overkill for the scale of this house. And there's a lot of quite nice natural elements of the landscaping, of the existing landscaping in terms of plantings and trees material. So just kind of being sensitive about not totally, you know, leveling the entire property per se. Let me zoom in here a bit. So in terms of new construction against the existing house, I would describe it, we have 3 egress wells, well, 4, one on each side basically. This egress well for a lower level basement bedroom. These 2 on the front are giving natural light to the basement as well. And then on this side, we have also egress well and natural light into the lower level. This one is, because of the grade sloping, is you know, all of them are at grade, but they get lower and lower. Like there's more foundation sticking out on this side than there is on this side. You're about 6 inches out of grade here, let's say, from the top of egress well to grade. And this one here, you could be a few feet when you come around the side, because we're going from 58 to 54. So it's a 4-foot differential from, you know, one corner to the other. The additions off the house, we have a rear patio, barbecue area, you know, area this is facing south, so it's perfect for sun, pool, spa, and a pool house. I don't know if it's relevant for this board or not, kind of what the floor plan layout is, but generally first floor bedroom, living, kitchen, dining, all within that existing footprint that was, you know, on site. Control. Let me try to back control. Oh, there it is. Okay. This is all foundation work that would be required for the pool house with that grade level has it's storage. We call it like a 1-car garage or storage underneath the pool house, because there's that 4-foot differential at this corner, but by the time you get to the actual garage, it's 8 feet of grade change from the front entry point to that area. Here you can see the egress wells, bedroom on this side, light into the stair here, light into the family room, and then openings on this side. This structure had the new foundation that's on site that was poured, you know, fairly recently, had existing cutouts. I'm utilizing 2 of the 4 that were on the front and 1 of the 2 that were on the, you know, on this side. So these were already mostly, I would say, existing in the foundation. That's just a basement plan. Main level, as I was saying, main kitchen, dining, first floor bedroom, entry, all within that existing footprint. The pool house becomes an outdoor pavilion with a bathroom and changing, and then a storage and outdoor shower. Once again, really minimal. We were able to locate everything within the setbacks as determined by the town. We have penciled in also here, just as a side note, I'm sorry, I forgot that, is a pickleball court, which also is within the town required setbacks in terms of pickleball courts. Okay. rear elevation or southern facing elevation. Big gestures in my mind. Just we're trying to get a pulse from you guys to see how you're feeling, what we're doing. I'm trying to make this garage as low as possible and as small as possible. Also using existing shingles, not going with contrasting modern materials to really be so striking against the main existing structure, trying to let that recede. Second floor windows are existing or replaced in kind with a disclaimer. One thing I wanted to run by you guys. This is the only room on the side in the center. I have a bedroom where I would need egress. So typically in Sag Harbor, I've done a lot of work there where we would do a casement replica of a double hung. So I don't know if that would be okay with you or not, but I guess we'll get to that. Single French door, and a 4-panel on the rear, trying to take the proportions from the existing light cuts in the other windows throughout the house and replicate those as close as possible so that there's some dialogue there. East facing side, all these units are the same with the same shingle detailing. That the thoughts are to preserve or replace in kind any kind of bracketry. This framing runs, in my opinion, runs all the way through the house. So part of the reason why we would like to meet with you now is before I go any further, let's say if this was okay to keep continuous direction, the next meeting would be with an engineer, because in your original report, I agreed there was some deflection in the roof, substantial on the southern portion of the house. We have some other areas, in particular with these beams, that I'd like to see if, hey, when I come back to you next time, we're keeping 20 of 24, or hey, we actually have to rebuild all in kind because of X, Y, and Z. So just want to kind of put that on your radar. The front elevation, I did a diagram, which I can show you after, but the intent here, same upper windows, restore, recreate as much as possible from the existing materials. This front entry, beautiful doors that are there. I'll show you a diagram, but it's easier. But I was trying to clean up some what's there. There was windows that were patched and matched over time. Like this was a stained glass window. I cannot tell if it's original or not because we went to the library. We did a lot of research to find existing structure, older pictures, and we couldn't. The original architect researched, and he had published a book at a certain point. We couldn't find any, older images. Anyway, so I took this stained glass window in real life, or on site right now, is over here on the left. So I moved it over here. This window size is here. There's not one here. So we did the same window that's going to be from the other side of the house here. So I got tried to rationalize a little bit more, taking units from certain parts of the house where I felt didn't seem to where they should have been originally. Maybe they were moved themselves, and kind of made some understandable geometry from it, while still keeping some of the eccentric nature to it, honestly. I like that this window was still higher. It's still where it is. It's not the same plate height as the others, which I find interesting. And then throughout the house, there's different plate heights. So we're not just going through and keeping it, typical modern day construction, all at 8 feet or 7 feet, being really honorable to where those, windows were in position. The rear elevation, west elevation is the same upper unit. These got wider. They were close, not wider size, but they moved further to the right and left, or south and north, respectively. And there were 2 units on this lower portion, and now there's 3, I believe. Well, I'll double check it 1 second here. We go through western side of the pool house. You can see the grade change, a significant grade change from one end to the other. We documented the existing windows and doors as we evolved to see, which ones would be. We had a place, I did a house in Sag Harbor where we would send the units upstate New York to have them refurbished or rebuilt in kind. So we would have to do another assessment here, exactly which ones are salvageable or not. And I usually invite that rep down, and they do that accounting for us. When we, I believe you saw the renderings, which I think tell the story very well. Open. So front of the house as proposed. We saw some other buildings this architect had done where he also had used a darker green, like an evergreen. At a certain point we'll get an exact color for you, but I would imagine from the Benjamin Moore Historical Collection, a dark green, all existing brackets. as you can see there. And detailing would be honored. This elevation, I believe I have one extra window here, but it's the same window being repeated. That's, in my mind, the exact, existing window that we have up there. You can see the pool house in the back. It's just, in my mind, trying to recede as much as possible. Any trim work would match the green. There was a hidden door on the house, so I was kind of taking a play on the hidden doors in the existing house to get to the outdoor shower and to get to the changing room on the side. The stone on this chimney mast is undetermined at this point. I'm just showing it stucco, but that's something, my client and I are, haven't resolved completely as well. Back elevation, instead of doing, this is definitely my client's suggestion, which I think is really appropriate. Instead of doing like really modern, huge glass, aluminum modern units, we're going more with a classic French door style units for the lower and not blowing out the whole back with glass. Trying to keep the similar proportion of sidewall shingle to glass ratio that you may have seen in this time period. There's this is the western side. You see the side of the pool house garage. There is a concern for us kind of highway traffic and eastway. So we imagined a two-tiered planting where you'd have plantings up against the house following the natural grade, hiding the egress well. And then another tier where this would give you privacy to the pool area. And I think this separation is important. I'm trying to, like I said, make this a secondary structure, away from the main element, from the main building. And then just finally, I can email these to you, but you haven't seen those yet because I just finished them. Bear with me and then we'll be done for me. I made these comparison elevations so you can study and see, which units I'm using and I'm replicating. So this whole back series of windows, exactly the same. You'll see these outside windows, we had 2 of these. Now I have 4 because in each room now we have a bed on either side. So I just wanted to keep that symmetry within the room and on the exterior. Okay. This is the existing picture. So this is that stained glass window I told you about over here. It's moving under here and it's moving under a window that's already there. Except this door, I believe, there's currently 3 doors on the front elevation. So this window and this window are here on the house. It's here and the other one's around the corner. And all the upper units are the same, intended to be the same in kind. Real elevation, this was non-historic as well. We're trying to keep the essence of those top windows. I feel like they're extremely important. They're repeating on the front and the back of the house. And you can see, I feel like the scale of sidewall shingle to glass here seems really nice. This elevation, upper window, see, we already had these 2 windows. So it's the same 2 windows kind of in theory moved, further apart. And then this side had a non-historic unit. So we're using the 2 outside ones and matching. It's, we're having 3 that make sense together and would have been found on the house. And we're eliminating the non-historic unit located here in the center. And that's all I have for you want me to switch over to me not sharing in case you guys want to talk about something specifically?
Do we have any comments from members of the board here on what's proposed?
So a lot of the original windows are 9/9, 12/12s. The light cuts are very small.
Yes.
And then are some of the others, even though they're existing now, they're sort of 6/1s, things like that. Were they original to the house? It seems like they would have been, a 9/9 or something more in keeping with some of the other windows. Maybe they were replaced at some point. So
there are ones that are obvious replacements. There's some modern fixed unit casement types and awning types, which on the rear elevation in particular, I I am not personally skilled enough in a sense historically to understand or know the date between, let's say, for example, these second floor units versus, maybe the best way to show it is the existing images. So, come in, just open this up here. So, for example, these in my mind, were an Anderson or equal type unit,
Yeah.
right? This obviously doesn't exist. I was under the impression when I looked at these windows that these were all in the same universe. These are 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12 over 12s. And these were the 9 over 9. That's a 9 over 9, like you said. So in my mind, I was, keeping these up top, both sides. This was a unit that I had saved in my mind, right? Now things is all hypothetical at the moment. And then when you,
I believe it's a window.
trying to go around. 1 second. There we go. Okay. Same side. So let's see if I get a better shot. Okay, here's a good example. So I said no on this one. That's a modern style unit. I love this little cute window here. I lumped these into the same kind of time, not time necessarily time period, but level of importance of trying to either mimic, replicate, or replace in kind. And you're correct. These were the 6 over 1 versus the 9 over 9 on that one.
Yeah. Because you look at the east elevation and the detail that went into the little diamond window.
Yes.
And then you go to the west elevation and you look at the upper window and the 3 of them have no divided lights whatsoever. And it just makes you think that at some point the sashes were changed or perhaps the windows were changed.
Sure. We also acknowledged it was kind of also an easy kind of hint when we saw the shingle detail also over any of those particular windows. We took, obviously that tipped me off a bit that those were more in kind, and then coming around the front. That's the wrong way.
Because currently there's no divided.
This one I saved in theory, this one, all the top units. So what I did was I have this unit is replaced, is mimicked over here symmetrically, and then this unit here. If the board or the historian, someone thought that 9 over 9 is should be what is the most consistent theme here, I'm open to suggestions. In particular, if someone has that experience historically. And this had the shingle, this had shingle flare detail. And then we come around to the, yeah, these beautiful guys here, right? And then so I have, now we have 4 of these. Yeah, who knows? You talked about that project previously where it was interesting how the one window showed up in the gable end on the front and not on the rear. I don't know if that was sometimes people didn't have the money to do it, but some kind of gable end gesture seems appropriate for the structure based on what's happening on, in particular on the east side. This is my client and I, we love this elevation. It's a beautiful elevation in particular.
Okay, so I think you had mentioned that at some point there had been a book. It'd be interesting to look at some of his other homes and see whether the windows were more continuous through the whole thing, and then maybe look at some of the 6 over 1s or the round-topped one in the west gable, and just see if adding grills to them would have been something that he would have done at that time.
Who's this being attributed to?
Absolutely.
Category,
I'm just gonna bring up my rendering.
I believe so.
I think it's Londu who built the house. Main house, it's up on the hill. It was done by Londu,
Okay.
who was a builder. And
Yeah.
that is this accessory structure
For the Londu house.
for the Londu house, which the Atterburys purchased in 1905 from the Welsh family. So, yeah. The Atterburys did work on the main house on the hill. Anyway.
I'm not sure how well we can hear you. I don't know if you want to sit in front of Stephanie there, for him. I don't know.
Let me sit up there.
But whatever. you
I'm
want.
just
I'm just not sure you can hear you. Sorry.
Thanks,
Maybe,
Steve.
maybe he knows who.
I'm sorry, is there a question for me?
Yeah, this is Julie Green. I'm the town historian. Just curious, who you're attributing this structure to.
It was, I do not have those notes in front of me, but so the architect of the main house and the architect for the Atterbury area,
Grosvenor.
Grosvenor, and had published a book.
Okay. This is an accessory structure for the house, and I don't know the address. It's Southway, East.
Yeah. I was under the impression this structure was moved. It was on that property and was moved,
Right,
right?
right. That structure was built, the main house was built by a gentleman, I think it's John Lomdu, who was out of, I wish I had my notes. I didn't see this on the agenda, so I'm sorry.
It's okay, yeah, same. I had the architect written down, like we had gone to the Rogers Memorial Library, and there was a book published on the architecture. I don't have the name, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there was a builder. He wasn't an architect, but he built the original house on the hill. So I would assume it would have been him. He was very, very well known builder and did some amazing work out on the east end of Long Island.
L.
It's L''Hommedieu. It's Lomdu.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
Makes sense.
but it might be interesting to see if there's some plans of things of his that would show
Sure.
more, because the attention to detail on this structure is just beautiful.
agreed, yeah.
Yeah. But I wasn't sure if you were attributing it to Atterbury, and I just wanted to make sure that was, it was probably not built, not designed by Atterbury.
Right.
It would have been built earlier than when he was practicing.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Well, I think this is, the purpose of tonight was to introduce us to the proposed plans for this house. This is not an actual construction application at this point.
Correct.
So, I understand your next visit will be with the engineer.
Yes, yep. And I will do some research on the windows and the existing builder. That's a great point, thank you.
Yeah.
And so there's no other comments from the board at this point. And we look forward to receiving your construction application.
Great, yeah, appreciate your feedback, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. There's no decision needed, just a discussion tonight. All right. Where did that go to? Oh, there it is, down at the bottom. Okay. Next application on our agenda is 244 Edge of Woods Road. And Susan did a report on this, which was circulated. Susan, should I just go ahead and discuss it?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, so this house has an AYB of 1924. And there's an AYB 1980 barn behind the house, but it might actually be a little bit older. This is a property that's not listed as a historic resource. And it looks like the structure may have previously belonged to a property shown on a nearby property. There has been prior work done that we did not remove, which includes a removal of a chimney. Obviously, when you look at the pictures of the house, there's a new cedar siding, new windows, new doors, some interior renovations, etc. So there's work that's been done that's not part of this application. This application is for several exterior features, including a proposed deck and step on it looks like the front side of the house, a proposed privacy fence around a proposed outdoor shower, another proposed step to replace an existing step on the back side of the house. These are all seemingly minor additions to the outdoor portion of the property. And again, it seems to be a circa 1920s structure that's been altered several different times. It does not appear to meet any criteria for consideration as a historic landmark. So, Susan, I believe you didn't have any objections to the work that's proposed.
No, I didn't. And there are two applications. One's for the work done and then the proposed work, but I have no objection to either one.
Okay, yeah, it sounded like this one was for just the work that hasn't been done yet, although they showed a bunch of work that's been done as well. So there was a lot of stuff in this application. But I don't see any reason to object. I agree with Susan's assessment here. So can I have a motion that we not object to the work that's proposed and or completed? So move. I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? None opposed? No abstentions. Takes care of 244. And Susan, you said you'd do the response on this?
Yes.
Thank you so much. And
You're
thank you for
welcome.
being here tonight on Zoom.
I have an echo, but I'm working around it.
Okay, next application is for 360 Montauk Highway in Eastport, the old Tuttle's Mower Garage. Bill?
Okay, so this application is for an as-built second-floor deck with an enclosed storage area beneath it and a staircase on the rear of the shop garage building on the site. The work has already been completed. The work is not visible from the street, although the design does not suit the character of the historic shop garage. Again, it's not visible from the street, so I didn't have any objections to it. There's a dwelling on the property with an AYB of 1890. The subject shop garage has an AYB of 1860. There's a barn in the back that unfortunately does not have an AYB and is probably the most historically correct one as far as the siding goes.
Touched it yet?
Yeah, they've already done siding. It's hard to see in the photo, but the right-hand side of that little barn in the back, they've already re-sided, so I have a feeling that come better weather, they'll probably do the other sides as well. Yeah, here you can see it a little better. It's the same board and batten that they've now done on the subject shop garage building. So this does show up in the AKRF, and it includes photos of the facade of the property's dwelling and the shop as they existed in 2014. The shop was a former blacksmith's wheelwright shop and has since received new board and batten siding on all four sides with a non-original cedar shingled accent in the gable ends. The asphalt roofing and all of the windows were replaced at some time as well, but prior to that photo. The two-story dwelling has received new cedar shingle siding on all four sides, new asphalt roofing, all new windows and doors. Unfortunately, the new windows have 6/6 light cuts when the original windows clearly had 2/2. All of this work was performed without landmarks board review or building permits. A small, somewhat original barn is located behind the other structures. It has received asphalt roofing at some point, and the east side has recently been re-sided with board and batten siding. In the general or immediate area of this are 8 different historic resources. The AKRF lists this as EP19. This house is known as the Lewis S. Tuttle House, built in the 3rd quarter of the 19th century. It is a 2-story structure clad in unpainted wood shingles. It features a cross gable, a projecting bay window, the windows containing 2/2 light double-hung sash. Also on the property is the second structure, consisting of a 2-story section and a single-story section that appears to be a garage. According to the historical profiles of Eastport, Remsenburg, Spionk, West Hampton, the last working blacksmith and wheelwright shop in Eastport, operated by Lewis S. Tuttle, is embedded within this structure, which was more recently converted into a garage and a repair shop. A 3rd structure, a small wood frame shed, is also located on the property. The property is potentially landmark eligible under town criteria A and C. The historical profiles of Eastport, Spionk, Remsenburg, and West Hampton list this as number 41, the former Lewis S. Tuttle House and Shop. Lou Jack, as he was known, had the last working blacksmith and wheelwright shop here in Eastport. The original hearth, bellows, anvil, and tools were left in place, and the mower, sales, and repair shop is operated around them. The house was built in 1860, about the same time as the shop. Some of the old-timers in Eastport still remembered Lou Jack sitting in his Model T Ford parked in his shop while reading the paper. But do they know that his original blacksmith shop in the rear is still set up with its forge, giant bellows, and anvil, just as it was in the turn of the century? The property shows up on the 1873 Beers map with no structures. Again, on the 1894 Beers map, it shows the property owned by J. Tuttle, and there's one structure shown on it. I included a postcard, an image from 1900, that shows the original volume of the dwelling, but the shop garage does not exist at that time. There's also a sawmill located on that can be seen on the historic maps. The 1902 Belcher Hyde map shows the property is owned by L. Tuttle and has a 2-story house and a shop. The 1916 Belcher Hyde map shows the subject property is owned by L.S. Tuttle, has a 2-story house and a garage. The work is already completed. It's not visible from the street, and although the design doesn't truly suit the character of the shop garage, I felt the Landmarks Board should not object to the work because it's not visible from the front. Yeah, there you can see it on the back. It's fairly modest in size, and it's completely shielded by the buildings from the front. Oddly, that building is a 2-story building in one part, a 1-story building in the other, and the roofs don't really align. I'm not sure which one came first. I believe the 2-story one did, as I looked at the maps, and that the 1-story one was added to it. But it's interesting how the roofs sort of miss each other. Rather peculiar.
Interesting.
But the board and batten siding that you can see on there is fairly new. And then they added some of the shingles to the gables and whatnot on there, which was not in the original photos that were in the AKRF. Yeah, here you can see, it almost looks like they kind of just tuck this roof
Snuck it
underneath
in.
it a little bit. And then as it appears in the back, it projects further out the back and becomes a shed roof, not coming back down. I'm not really sure how all of this happened.
Extra storage in there.
Yeah. So I did contact the owner and ask them if the hearth and anvil and whatnot were still in there, but I didn't get a response from him.
Yeah. I see.
This
that.
lot is
Yeah,
pretty
there is.
cleared, right? The lot behind is
Yeah.
Yes.
pretty, yeah.
Yeah, prior to this owner, the lot was well wooded in the back, and it's now about 80% cleared, a lot of parking in the back, a lot of material and vehicles parked back there for their business. Yeah, there's the house, which originally had 2/2 windows, which now has 6/6. It had natural siding on it, now it has a stained siding to it.
That house has been vacant, I think, pretty much all of my life and, not maintained, et cetera. So even though it could have been done better to be more historic, I was very glad to see it didn't end up in a dumpster.
Yes, it was nice that it was rescued and repurposed. I'm not sure if it's used as a house now or part of the business or,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, at least it's still with us.
So I would agree with you not objecting to this. The work's already been done. It is not visible from the street. It'd be nice if they'd come to us before all the rest of the work had been
Yes,
done, but
yeah.
yeah. Does anybody have any other opinions about this? Okay. Hearing none, can we agree that we will send a no objection response to this? Okay, I move that.
Yes.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
objections? Objections, okay. And Bill, would you make that response, please?
Yes.
Okay. That brings us to 41 Ponquag Avenue in Hampton Bays. One that would have been nice to eliminate.
That's the
Right.
existing.
So this is a construction application for taking a single bathroom and making it into 2 bathrooms. And we have a lot of lovely pictures of one of the bathrooms, not the other bathroom.
No, we did.
Oh, we did? Oh, wait, there we go. This is the one with the shower,
With a
okay.
Powder room and a full bath.
All right. Although I wasn't
Correct,
sure
but
we
there
saw
is
the
a-
one with the window.
It's not shown here. The first pictures you saw were the powder room, which is interior of the house. It has no exterior walls.
So
And it
that's
does
the
not-
powder room.
The new
Correct.
bathroom that they created from part of the other bathroom has no exterior work because it's on the interior portion of that previous room.
Correct, but
Right.
I would think, because they moved the vanity and the shower in the other part of the bathroom, they should have shown pictures of that as well. That one does have an exterior wall and shows one window in it. Although oddly, the second floor plan only shows one window in the whole plan. So I'm hoping that that's correct, that there's one window. I would think as they renovated that bathroom, the building department would probably require that window to be tempered glass. So then I'm hoping that that bathroom would get a window that matched the window, whatever's in there now. I don't know what the light cuts are, if it's 4/4 or 6/6 or 2/2. I would hope that they would match that look to the window if they had to replace it.
So is this picture then a picture of the second bathroom on the second floor, the one that should have a window?
No, this is the more interior bathroom, so again, these are all interior walls.
Yes,
This
that's
is
what it
not
looks
the
like.
Exterior of the building,
Isn't there a
correct,
bathroom before?
yeah.
Well, what
but
was the bathroom before it then, with all the busy wallpaper?
That's
the powder room.
downstairs.
That's the,
Oh, that's the
Powder room.
downstairs bathroom?
correct, that's the powder room
Looking at
downstairs. It's
that.
only a sink and a
Because
toilet.
it was built and they must be going for a legalization of the work done.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
So do we have then a picture of the upstairs bathroom with the window in
We
it?
do not. So here you can see the light cuts of the window, so I'm assuming that the bathroom probably has a similar size and similar light cut as that. And I'm just hoping that if they have to replace that with a newer window with tempered glass in it, because it is a bathroom and it is required, that they'll match the window, not put in a 1/1 or a casement or something that doesn't suit the house.
Well, wait a second here. I'm just trying to figure out where we're looking at the backside of bedroom number 7, according to the renovation plan, which the bathroom is on the other side of the house. I don't think we're even looking.
Yeah,
Oh, when you're looking at that, yes, you're looking at the front of the house where the bathroom is on the rear of the house, and we don't have a
Correct.
photo of that.
So we have no photos of the rear of the house showing
Correct.
whatever happened to the window, or not.
no windows in
Yeah,
for a couple of
yeah,
years.
and then no porch and
Yeah.
such.
Okay. Well, it is on the back
Yes,
of the house.
yeah.
Okay. And they did state that all work occurred entirely within the existing interior footprint of the structures. No changes were made to the exterior appearance, footprint, roof light, facade, or internal architectural elements.
Mm-hmm.
So if we take that at face value, there were no exterior changes,
Correct. Yeah.
in which case I don't see that we have any objection.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next time, maybe they could send a picture of what they actually did. Okay, so I'm not hearing that we have any objection, so I move that we issue a no objection response to the submitted application. Can we have a second?
A second.
Several seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No opposed? We're good. All right. Is there somebody who wants to venture to provide that response? Vicky? Okay, Vicky will do the response. Okay. All right. I think that takes care of all our demolition and construction permit applications, and now we come to a very pleasurable COA application. This is for 248 New Light Lane in Watermill. This is our friends Kurt and Jan Flack, who they landmarked their house with us several years back. Kurt Flack, by the way, and I worked together to do the, he did all the work for the Hayground Heritage Area Report. Very beautiful job he did. So they have not only landmarked their house, they have gotten it on the state and national registers. And they want to put a National Register sign on the house. And so here is a picture of the sign that they want to put on their house. And they, by the way, they already have SHPO approval to put the sign on their house. And here's a picture of the house, and it's right here where they want to put the sign, between the door and the window on the older part of the house. So I think it's a wonderful idea to recognize the house. I don't see any reason to object to this. All right. So I move that we issue a COA for the proposed National Register sign for 248 New Light Lane, Watermill. Can we have a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, I will go ahead and issue this COA. All right, let's see. Let's do 75 Ponquag Avenue next. This is in Hampton Bays, and we have a landmarking application submitted by Rogers Tollefson, who is the owner of the property. This is one, I think, Julie, I spoke with you about potentially doing a report on this.
Report I'll have for March. I'm still trying to determine which house it is on the 1916 map. I don't know if he provided any of that in there, but,
I think there was like one photograph, maybe. There we go.
yeah, so, and I don't know what happened to the photographs that I printed out.
It's a 1930s.
It's AY, it would be 1920.
1920.
But if it is indeed the Hulse family, it's actually on the 1894 Beers map.
Ooh,
So we're trying to determine if it is, which house it is exactly. There's one property that has two houses, one's a Squires and one's a Hulse, and I'm just not sure.
was this a boarding house at one time?
It's possible, it was actually, there was a single, if it's the one house that I think it is, then it's, there was an owner from 1946 until Roger bought it in 2003.
Okay,
And they treated it as their summer home. They're on the cottage list
okay.
for Hampton Bays. But again, I need to get to county center to do the deed search,
Okay,
just to determine which property it is.
okay, so this will be a to be continued,
Yes,
but
I'll get
another,
it to you before March,
that'd
you
be
know,
great.
first Tuesday. And that he wants to do some work to the house, and
Landmarks
I can
maintenance
send you
program.
off the images for that. On that picture there, you can see kind of the little steps, little brick area.
Yeah,
Wanting to do some sort, a little roofed, so when you come out the door, you
You
have
have
a roof, and it would mimic that
these other little
dormer
roofs.
or whatever up there at top, yeah,
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
yeah.
All right, so to be continued in March with more information. Okay. 53 Foster Avenue in Hampton Bays. So we have a landmark application, we have a history report, and then we have Bill's photographs.
Okay. So Julie has already presented the history of this house. It has a long history with the Foster family. This is on Foster Avenue. They owned a good part of the property in that area and built a lot of houses in that area. So the original part of the house, I've started to sort of do the history of it as I go through the pictures. The areas that I've surrounded in yellow is what's visible of the original house. This is on a corner, so looking from Foster Avenue, that's all you can see of the original house. The porch and the dormer and the sort of faux balcony were added later. After being in the attic and looking at the framing of it, I got a feeling that it was built at the same time as the rear addition at the opposite end of the house. And I came up with a date of around 1920 for what I considered to be a Dutch colonial revival, and that would be sort of in the heart of that period. And yeah, here you can see the end of the original house. The bay window towards the left there was added on at a different time. This whole porch, which is now enclosed, the shed dormer above it, and that railing, I think, came in about 1920. All of the windows in this house have been replaced. Again, this is from the north, what you would see of the original mass. There's a large overhang on this left-hand side of the house underneath that dormer. And underneath it is a slab, and it looks like it was at one point a porch. Maybe it had 2 or 3 posts on it, maybe a door coming out this side. The picture windows became more popular post-World War II, early 50s into the 60s, so it doesn't really suit that side. I'm wondering if there wasn't more of a door and perhaps some side lights there or something coming out onto this little porch, but the details of the porch have been lost. To the left of it, there's a little shed that was added to it. Yeah, and then to the right of it, there's also a little shed with a small window. Yep, that was added to it again later. I think they were added after the 1920 addition. As we continue on, this is the disturbing side of the house. Underneath the dormer was originally a recess that formed a porch. That has been enclosed now as more of a vestibule. To the left of that is the what has been termed passive solar collector, greenhouse, sunroom, and screened porch. Depending on where you look, it's called something different each time, but it does not suit the character of either the 1860s house or the 1920s edition. And it would really be nice if that would go away. The terrace that's between where I'm standing and the house looks like it was either stair treads or pool coping that they laid out as a terrace and filled in the spaces in between it in brick. Can't say I've ever seen that detail before. That has a date, AYB of 1980, so definitely not historic. Being that it's flush with the ground, it doesn't really detract from the house. Here again, you can see
Is it the back of the house?
this. This is the south side. Foster Avenue is on the west to the left.
Okay.
Shinnecock is to the north, so it's on the other side of the house. But as you come down Foster,
you see it.
you can see this very clearly.
This is really all you can see.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
your eye goes immediately to the huge pieces of glass on the passive solar collector. Yeah. The above-ground oil tank doesn't help, and I believe that the chimney on this side was added later as the brick in that chimney does not match the brick in the foundation that I can see in one of the later pictures. The doorway into the 1920s addition, again, 4 feet to the left of that is where the covered porch was enclosed. Yeah, just a close-up of the hardware on the door. A close-up of the terrace. Here's one of the sheds. You can see under the asphalt the edge of the wood shingles. As I went up into the attic, everything on this house has a wood shingled roof underneath all of the asphalt. Yeah, we can see a little bit of the brick there under the original part of the house. This is the bay window. I think it started a sag and somebody put a cement block under it. It has no foundation. This is the concrete, which I think was part of a porch at one point, and the picture window, which was possibly a door, and perhaps the columns have been lost over time. But definitely there's such a broad overhang at that point, it doesn't appear like the other side. Right here, we can see either a stuccoed over or poured concrete foundation under this part of the house. Now, again, some more of the concrete. This is the front porch, which the wood siding goes right down to the ground. You can see the wood flooring coming out underneath the side light on the door. It does have a concrete stoop, and the pathway that leads from it is also concrete. Yeah, something definitely living under there. It does not seem to have a foundation. There's probably a series of posts under there. Here you can see the original foundation to the left of the chimney. The brick differs from the chimney brick, and the concrete under the addition to the right. Yep, the chimney's in good condition. Again, all of the windows have been replaced. They're all 1/1 light cuts. The only original window was in the porch that was enclosed. Here is the passive solar collector. It has a hot tub in it. Underneath the green carpeting, you can see a line in that. It's a hatch that opens up to the concrete steps leading down to the basement. This photo and the next photo are all that is left in the original part of the house of the wide plank flooring in the house. It's directly on top of the framing. Everything else has been replaced with plywood. A lot of it has not even been fastened into place yet. It's all just sitting there loose. Yeah, so that piece and what you can see here is all that's left of that original flooring. This is the original part of the house, and you can see the panel underneath the window, the trim around it, the baseboard, all looks original. The windows are replacement. The vertical cedar on the walls, definitely something new as well. Yep, another shot of one of the other windows. It seems to match sort of the detailing of the side cabinet and the fireplace mantle. Not sure why the fireplace has been sealed off with something that's sort of projecting out from it. Yep, there's the inside of the cabinet to the side of the fireplace. Original stairs in the original part of the house. Yep, and the view of from the second floor. And then here again, we have the plank flooring.
See a few.
Yeah, 2 of the spindles are missing. Second floor above the first floor fireplace is this fireplace, and again, it has been sealed as well. This is in the 1920s addition, looking down the back stairs, which has the wainscoting in it. This is back downstairs. Original part of the house, it had a tin ceiling and what looks like an original light fixture. Push button light switch with a fairly odd kind of or unusual wood casing around it.
Yeah.
Again, odd. Your claw and ball foot tub set into a makeshift sort of a shower stall with openings around it. I guess the water went around the tub and was picked up in a shower pan underneath it.
Enough Clorox in the world.
Inside of the front door, the stairs is to your right. Not sure that that flooring was original. It's a fairly narrow board. I'm assuming they had carpets that they sort of double-face taped all over the place, upstairs and down. Second floor in the 1920s addition, showing a grill in the floor that would allow heat to get from one level to the other. Some more of the flooring on the second floor, 2 of the doors, original hardware.
Ooh,
Yep.
nice.
There's a step down as you leave the original part of the house and get into the addition on the rear. Yep, some of the original hardware. Yep, again, there's the step. This is in the dormer on the front of the house. So, again, I had a feeling that the dormer was 1920, although it has a board and batten door, but it may have come from another location in the house or somewhere else. The door seems to predate when I thought the dormer was created. And there's the hardware on another board and batten door on the second floor. In the 1920s addition, similar to the stairwell, again, it has the wainscoting in it, although in the stairwell, it's vertical, and in the closet, it's horizontal. Okay, now we're in the attic. The attic was difficult to see a lot of things. At some point, they did blown-in insulation, and everything is covered in a layer of dust. So where I am now, I'm in the 1920s addition, rough sawn framing, wood lath, cedar shingles, and definitely on the outside, asphalt shingles. So they've asphalt over the cedar shingles. Yeah, so this is sort of where the back wall of the house, of the original house occurred. To the left, it's a slight step up, and then the addition to the right is a step down from that. And they have removed part of the roof in this back area. So you can see that they built the 1920s addition, its roof, over the top of the original roof. I didn't see, there was some speculation that the original house was built from spars and such from wrecked ships.
Right, that was.
I didn't see it, unless they,
Yeah,
just took the timbers that were straight and, very rectilinear.
they had a sawmill right on the water there, so.
Okay, so it could have been, but everything is very, it's rough sawn, it's rectilinear. Just a little history of sort of the time frame between timber frame and hand-hewn materials and rough sawn is somewhere between 1830 and 1860s, which fits with the date of the original house, that it would have been the rough sawn framing. Yep, again, more of the original roof. They've cut out between two of the rafters to get access from the additions attic into the original attic. And then the next photo, I believe, yep, shows an opening in the lath of the original roof, and that's where I could see the roof of the shed dormer on the front of the house. And again, looking at the rough sawn framing, the wood lath, and the wood shingles on it, that's where I decided that it was probably 1920s, like the additions on the back, because it resembled that framing. Yeah, this is where the step occurs between the two floors, and originally the house definitely had lath and plaster on the walls, and that would be in the addition, had the lath and plaster. Yep. And some of the framing was cut off between the two, where the roof used to come down to before they cut a portion of it out. As you go into the basement, the steps don't look as old as the foundation walls. That may have been done at a time when the solar collector was added or something, but they're poured concrete where the cellar is brick. The cellar is only under 2 rooms of the original dwelling. The rest of it is a very shallow crawl space. It is a circular brick foundation. And it appears that when the addition was done to the dining room, they turned the circular cellar into a figure 8 by adding another circular portion to the original. Yeah. And oddly, that's a railroad jack used for pulling and straightening poles on the railways. Yeah, here you can see kind of where the original brick on the right meets the newer brick on the left, and it's sort of a hodgepodge patch in between the two. Yeah, that jack company is still in business, making the same jack, but now it's in aluminum. But it looks exactly the same in pictures of the modern ones.
Huh.
So again, the rough sawn framing, the post is rough sawn as well as the girder and the floor joist, and then you can see the new plywood subflooring or up above it. There's a lot of the metal wrapped wiring down there. Yeah, again, the plywood. Series of different framing. This is as you get into the 1920s addition. The 1920s addition was built almost on the ground. It has a foundation around the perimeter. Here it has what looks like a locust post, and then the beam running down the center. Further back down the beam are what look like dry stacked brick piers. Yeah, there you can see the brick pier further back. Yeah. And somebody's been using this to throw their garbage into. Here you can see to the left and to the right how somebody trenched in here to get further in for wiring or plumbing or something, but basically it goes right back up on both sides of it to just several inches below the wood framing. Yeah, so there you can see it's coming right up underneath the wood framing. This is a second building on the site. It again has an AYB of, what is it, 1840, like the house. Where the yellow lines are was originally a barn door. This has been recently completely redone. All new vinyl windows, all new vinyl siding, asphalt roof, and completely redone inside. There is no attic or exposed framing. It was a barn, so there is no crawl space underneath it. The left-hand side is a little flat-roofed addition, which I could not find a date for. That flat-roofed addition and the porch and everything on the house were noted in the application for a pre-existing CO applied for in 1966. This addition and the porch addition on the house both show up on the 1965 land survey, which states that everything on that survey was on the property prior to 1957. But I can't tell you when that flat-roofed addition was done. Yeah, so this building, there's nothing historical outside. Inside, some of the framing is a rough sawn, but it's been painted over. Here, you can see it in one part of it. As you pass through that wall towards the kitchen, you get into that flat roof section. But here's the framing, which again looks rough sawn, so I could see a date of 1840 making sense, but there's nothing historical left on the exterior. I couldn't see landmarking this building along with the house.
It's interesting. I wasn't sure where those pictures were of the interior of that white. I was like, where is that? And
Yes,
that's where it is.
And then there's this. 1980, they call it a three-car garage, although the door is only 2 cars wide. There's that door, the little man door to the left, and there are no windows or anything in it. Yeah, on the north side. This is the view from Shinnecock Avenue, and you know, it's 20 feet from the house. This is the east end of it, and the metal portion was added to this little one-story thing, which being inside of it and looking at the outside, I kind of had a feeling that it was a mobile home that was put there, used as a shed or some sort of storage building, and then this other building was added to it. But it has an AYB of the whole thing of 1980. There's nothing historical about it. It's quite unattractive and does not suit the character of an historic property and house. Inside that building, it is wood framed, which I thought was odd, although the outside is clad completely in metal. Yeah, and then this is the what I assume is a mobile home. So here, the gray portion is the original 1840s house. The back portion where the kitchen is the primary addition added in 1920. The dining room, which is in the center, has a little addition to the right of it, which I think was added at the same time as that addition. And I believe that the second floor shed dormer and what they call the screened-in porch down on the lower part of the page were also added in 1920. The bay window was added later, And then off the kitchen to the left is the bath, and to the back are secondary additions added later. And then to the right is what on here is called the screened-in porch, but that is the passive solar collector slash greenhouse slash sunroom slash screen porch.
Screen porch with fixed glass.
Yeah. Here's the second floor. Again, the gray area is the original 1840 dwelling. The bottom part of the page would be the shed roof dormer. The balconies are not shown. The back area is basically, again, the 1920s addition on the rear. So if you go back to the first floor photo, that one, yep. The basement was originally under the den, and then when they added to the dining room, they added the other circular portion to it, so that's where the basement is. Under the living room on the front, I couldn't see into that at all anywhere, and under the kitchen in the back is where I saw the crawl space that's very tight to the bottom of the framing. But the basement is under the original house, under the den, and then dining room.
Okay.
And that's about it. Originally, when Julie sort of showed this to us and I saw that south elevation, I thought, I can never landmark this. Having looked into it further, I wish that it was presenting itself more landmarkable, in that the original part of the house is 1840s, the addition is 1920s, so again, predates 1941. But when you start to look at all of the things that have been done to it, all of the vinyl windows, which we have no idea what the light cut originally was, but they're all now 1/1. The asphalt roof over the wood roof, the siding has been changed at different times. The north porch has lost its detail, the south porch has been enclosed, and the horrific passive solar collector has been added to the south side and is very apparent when you see it. Then you look at the previous 1840s guest cottage, ADU, which that work was done without our review or a building permit. It is CO'd as storage.
So charming, too.
Again, all of the exterior of that, vinyl siding, vinyl windows, I can't see doing any landmarking of that. And then in close proximity to it is this metal building, which has no historic character whatsoever, built in 1980. I did enjoy listening to the history of the house, the Foster family and everything.
There was no evidence that you could tell from that back wing to the east of being older in any respect.
No, as I got underneath it and into the attic, really, and I started to look at the trim, the doors and whatnot, I really came up with a date of 1920.
Okay, just curious, because there's the other Foster house that was built around the same time. And one of those illustrations from Alonzo Foster's family record,
Yeah.
it had a back wing, which has been removed from that other Foster house, but I was just curious maybe if they both had the same wing off the rear, but
As I looked at the framing underneath it,
you kind of tell there's not
it
really.
did resemble the framing in the attic. So I didn't see it as an earlier, because I think at one point you had thought it was a one-story addition to the house.
To the back,
And then
yeah,
the second floor was added to it.
but there was no
So
evidence
I
of
didn't
that.
really get that feel.
That's good to know, yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yes. So if we could landmark it and have them remove that appendage, the other two sheds, redo the porch on the north side, redo the porch on the south side, I could see landmarking it. But as it stands,
Not sure
yeah.
yeah.
But it's the kind of thing that if we could get someone interested in buying it, who would be interested in landmarking, who would be willing to do that work, because again, this landmarking application is coming from the town, not the owner. So we can't go to the
It's coming from
owner.
the Hampton Bays Historical Society.
Okay.
Yeah.
But not the owner. So we can't go to the owner and say, look, if you do A, B, and C, we could landmark this.
Undo everything you just did.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Anything that's not 100 years old, rip it out.
Yeah. And I love the connection with the Foster family and that whole, history of the area, but I too have some concerns about, the condition of the property, overall. There's portions of the house that are definitely historic, but then we have these other buildings that at this point are non-historic, and then there's, these additions to the main house that are just not appropriate. Oh. The only criteria it would seem to me to meet of the criteria for landmarking are the, possessing special character or historic aesthetic interest of value as part of the cultural, political, economic, and social history of the area. So,
It's association
with the Fosters, yeah, that's really it.
Yes.
Yeah. So it seems to me, unless I hear something different here, that we are not in a position at this point to recommend landmarking of this property or the structure to the town board. Okay. All right. Guess we need a decision on that. So the decision at this point, based on the information presented, is that we are not going to recommend landmarking of this property to the town board at this time.
Because it does not meet the requirements.
It does not meet the landmarking requirements, correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Criteria.
all right, so I move. Second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? You have an eye over there from Susan. It's a shame. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if we've had a situation where we have been presented with an application before and have decided not to landmark.
It's that one house on Noyak Road. I don't know if it was in Edwards.
Oh, that's right, Yeah. Okay.
Where on Noyak?
On
Closer to
Glass
Noyak?
Serene Green, like heading towards Brick Hill Road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Around that bend.
Around that bend
Oh,
on the
that
right-hand
house
side.
It's like 4040 Noyak Road, I think.
Something like that. Yeah, they
There
built.
was a white porch that had detail on it, and we all thought it was old, and they ripped it off. They got rid of all the detail.
Yeah. I know Sally Spanberg wanted to protect it, but
Yeah.
ultimately.
It did give it character, I think.
Okay, let me, I think I can quickly dispose of the remaining things here. We have 116 Montauk Highway in West Hampton. We recommended landmarking of the United Methodist Church building there, subject to receipt of a favorable easement. I understand that there may be some policy change under consideration at CPF for historic facade easements. Julie, do you know anything about that?
There's some, and the fact that it's, it's a church. There may be some hesitation or, just trying to figure out exactly if they qualify, if the town deems them as such, as like a private residence, it might be something different, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
that's all
so
under.
that's- it's just
We haven't
a
sat down to
church.
really talk about it, but we
Okay.
will,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So we're gonna hold off on further work on that till that issue is sorted out. 11 Walnut Avenue, we issued the COA for the garage. Easement, as far as I know, is pending, and,
Yeah, they're working on
yep.
they haven't closed on it yet.
Right, and the same thing with 149 South
Yep.
Country Road, and there the issue is the hedge. Do you know if they're still insisting that the other?
I think just maybe one or two to be removed.
To be removed, okay, yeah. 29 Dock Road, this is the Landmarks Maintenance Board. I'm going to remove this. I spoke to the owner recently, and he's not moving forward with this project at this time, so I recommended to him that if he decides that he's going to do something about his windows in the future, to come back to us. And then North Sea Schoolhouse, we are still waiting the receipt of the final invoices. I don't know, David, have you heard anything from those?
Over the last months, I haven't,
Yeah, I know, you've been out of pocket.
but I made a note of it today.
Okay, I'll leave that on there then.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything else on our agenda that we have actively moving on.
Just want to let you know that the drafty sign will not have lighting on it.
Okay, no lighting on the drafty sign. Okay, good.
Good.
Does anybody have anything else they want to bring before the Landmarks and Historic Districts Board at this time? Okay. Peter, I assume there's nobody else on Zoom?
Nope, I have nothing, thank you.
Okay.
And no one's got their hand up,
Peter,
so-
Peter.
Yeah, no one's got their hand up.
Okay, very good.
Excellent.
I adjourn the Landmarks Board meeting. Thank you.